Y News with Angelo Castro III, William Theo, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. The National Capital Region Police Office and other government agencies will deploy 113,000 personnel to secure the 50th Association of Southeast Asian Nations Foreign Ministers meeting. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
1,700 delegates are expected to arrive in the country to attend the 7-day 50th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting, which will start tomorrow. Among these delegates are the 27 foreign ministers of ASEAN member countries and dialogue partners. NCRPO Police Director Oscar Albayalde says 13,000 uniformed men and more than 1,000 personnel of attached agencies will be deployed in Parañaque, Pasay, and Makati City. This is to maintain peace and security in places where the international event will be held.
The preparations have been made since last year. I think with all our efforts, we are very much ready to secure the leaders, yung mga ministers coming here.
So far, PNP has not monitored any security threats on the ASEAN. The PNP intelligence operatives, however, have been checking on the members of the Alex Bongcayao Brigade who are Islam reverts.
Avoiding here is any incident, even outside the venue, like what happened before dun sa Quiapo. That's why we have this target hardening measures that we conduct all over Metro Manila.
President Rodrigo Duterte is expected to participate in the opening ceremony of the 50th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting and to welcome the foreign ministers as they pay him a courtesy call on Saturday. Meanwhile, with the Marawi crisis that the Philippines is facing, the issue on terrorism and transnational crimes may also be discussed at length by the foreign ministers.
Definitely, counterterrorism and countering violent extremism is high on the agenda of ASEAN. And we expect the ministers to have a fairly extensive discussion on the topic.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The Department of Budget and Management says there is no need for additional budget to fund the government's free college education program. Joanano tells us why.
In today's deliberation of the House Committee on Appropriations, the Kabataan Party List questioned why the additional 8 billion peso fund intended for the free college education for poor but deserving students was scrapped from the proposed 2018 national budget. The Department of Budget and Management explains the said program is not part of the government's original budget plan.
It was not in the 2017 budget of the President. So it's a one-year appropriation. Now, in the absence of any law, we cannot appropriate money for free tuition.
DBM adds the government has enough fund for state universities and colleges, particularly for scholarship programs for the poor.
There's a huge budget for the 114 state universities in the Philippines. And I do not rule out the possibility that the President might instruct all the boards to provide scholarship for 20%, the poorest 20% of their student.
For his part, House Chair of the Committee on Appropriations, Congressman Carlo Nograles hopes that lawmakers will still consider to include the 8 billion peso fund in the proposed 2018 national budget for the benefit of poor students who also deserve good quality education.
So mahaba pa yung panahon at maraming pagkakataon na maipasok ito kung ito ay pagdedesisyonan ng House of Representatives at ng Senado. May mga pagkakataon na baka maibalik.
The Education Department tops agencies with the highest budget allocation for next year, followed by the Department of Public Works and Highways, the Department of the Interior and Local Government, Health Department, and Department of National Defense, respectively. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
A group of workers and businessmen expresses dissatisfaction with the totality of the tax reform package that the Duterte administration is pushing for. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
The Associated Labor Union TOCP is in favor of expanding the coverage of tax exemption for workers once the tax reform package is implemented. However, the group opposes the excise tax for petroleum products and sweetened beverages that is part of the bill as it will affect all workers.
Bukod doon sa pataw na dagdag sa gasolina, ay maapektuhan din yung ordinaryong manggagawa na naman na nagkakape.
The businessmen say the tax reform package is anti-poor because it will burden consumers.
As a businessman, syempre itataas ko na naman ang itataas ko yung benta ko. Kung how much yung increase ng gobyerno dito, itataas ko naman yung yung produkto ko.
Arnel Vergara says he struggles to make ends meet with his minimum wage as a security guard.
Sarili namin wala na eh. Doon na lang sa anak na lang at siya doon sa baon na lang lagi-lagi tapos sa pang-araw-araw namin na pagkain.
Prior to this, Budget Secretary Benjamin Jokno said the tax to be collected from the new tax reform law will benefit the poor. One of the biggest budget allocations of the Duterte administration is government infrastructure and transportation projects.
So sino ba nagbe-benefit sa education budget? Sino nagbe-benefit sa health budget? Sino nagbe-benefit sa CCP? Hindi ba yung mga mahihirap?
Based on NEDA's estimate, an average family should have 120,000 pesos gross monthly income to live a simple and comfortable life. It includes having a house, a car, and can provide for the children's education. This is a far cry from the current monthly salary of Mang Arnel, which is only 12,000 pesos.
Kapag hindi na isakatuparan yung tax reform package na ito, ay hindi ho natin makakamit yung ambisyon na sinasabi ng NEDA.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Meanwhile, the case for the confiscation of the Bureau of Customs of more than 600 kilograms of shabu might be dismissed according to lawmakers. Meanwhile, the lawmakers in today's inquiry are calling for Customs Commissioner Nicanor to resign. Grace Casin tells us why.
A congressional inquiry today discovers that officials of the Bureau of Customs, or BOC, did not follow the law pertaining to the confiscation of more than 600 kilograms of shabu that was smuggled into the country from China. PDEA Regional Director Wilkins Villanueva says when they arrived at the warehouse in Valenzuela where the illegal drugs were recovered, they found the containers were already opened and the shabu were scattered on the floor. He says he already talked several times to BOC Commissioner Nicanor to leave to them the processing of the evidence, but the top customs official Villanueva says disregarded them.
Ang lahat na ng tao nagawak eh. Lahat na ng tao nag-selfie na dun sa drugs eh. Pag anti-drug operation, makinig kayo sa PDEA. Ang problema, nagmamagaling-magalingan tayo dito, eh wala naman pala tayong alam.
It already took them several hours to figure out how to address the control delivery. And I am given an information that this suspect is now suspicious of the presence of operatives in the area.
It was also revealed that the BOC did not have a search warrant when it conducted a raid on the warehouse, but just only letter of authority. Due to the mistakes, the lawmakers worried that no suspect could be held liable for the incident, and the illegal drugs case might be dismissed.
So pagka ganun po ginawa niyo, pagdating sa husgado, i-dismiss yan dahil wala na, mali po eh. Illegally obtained evidence po ang mangyayari doon.
Because of the neglect, the lawmakers are calling on Faeldon to resign from his post.
Dapat nga mag-resign na kayo eh, to avoid further embarrassment to our president.
Well, I support the call for resignation.
On the other hand, Faeldon has this to say.
So let the president fire me.
The House inquiry on the issue will continue tomorrow, facing the Provost BOC Risk Management Office Chief Larry Hilario, who was the alleged person who helped the consignee bringing out the contraband without having it undergo verification and inspection. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
President Rodrigo Duterte still trusts Bureau of Customs Commissioner Nicanor. This after some lawmakers call for the resignation of the customs official because of the controversial 6.4 billion pesos worth of smuggled shabu. Based on the statement released by Finance Secretary Carlos Sonny Dominguez, the president has met Commissioner Faildon this afternoon. The chief executive also has expressed his full confidence in Commissioner Faildon and told him to focus on serving the country. Meanwhile, President Duterte also met Bureau of Internal Revenue Chief Cesar Dulay and told the commissioner to accelerate tax collections to cover unexpected expenses due to natural disasters and Marawi rebellion. In other news, the Parojinogs camp plans to file a case against the PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group on the delay in the inquest proceedings against the Parojinogs siblings. Mon Hokson tells us why.
The 36-hour validity of arrest of Vice Mayor Nova Princess Parojinogs and Reynaldo Parojinogs Jr. already lapsed yesterday, and the siblings should have been released from detention. The CIDG, however, admits they encountered a problem in transporting the Parojinogs siblings, causing the delay. Attorney Ferdinand Topacio, the lead counsel of the Parojinogs family, says they will file a case against the CIDG for violating Article 125 of the Revised Penal Code.
Okay, kinukonsidera po namin ng seryoso ang paghahain ng reklamo para sa paglabag ng Artikulo 125 ng Revised Penal Code. Dahil lumampas po ng 36 hours, yun pong pagka-detine ng aming mga kliyente na wala pong inquest at wala pong pinafile na mga charges.
The inquest proceedings only pushed through earlier this afternoon. The senior state prosecutor from the Department of Justice led the proceedings. The CIDG filed a complaint against the two Parojinogs for illegal possession of firearms, illegal possession of illegal drugs, and illegal possession of explosives. The complaint was already submitted for resolution, and it's up to the DOJ to determine if there is a probable cause to indict the siblings.
Kasi after the inquest, there will be a resolution from the panel whether or not there was probable cause. If there is probable cause, an information will be filed in court and the court will issue a commitment order because the respondents are already under custody. So there may be no cause to issue a warrant of arrest.
Attorney Topacio says his clients do not want to be detained in Ozamiz for fear of their life. In the meantime, the two Parojinogs will stay at the PNP Custodial Center until a court decides where they will be detained. After the DOJ comes up with a resolution on the complaint, Atty. Topacio will file a motion for the court to allow the Parojinogs siblings to attend the burial of their father and mother in Ozamiz. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Senators express different views on the call to investigate the possible irregularities on the recent police operation that killed Ozamiz Mayor Reynaldo Parojinogs Sr. and his men. Nel Maribohok tells us why.
Nakakabahala talaga itong testimonya di umano ng survivor at kaya nananawagan ako sa mga kapwa ko senador na siguruhin namin na magkakaroon ng isang tapat at independenteng investigasyon.
This was Senator Risa Ontiveros' call to her co-senators to investigate the Ozamiz City police raid against Mayor Reynaldo Parojinogs and his men. In response, Minority Leader Senator Franklin Drilon said he is in support on any resolution that will be filed regarding the incident. He himself expresses doubt on the said police operation.
The rules of court, as a rule, search warrant should be executive should be served during daytime, and if it's served in the evening, it must be so specified.
But according to Senator Cynthia Villar, it is better to leave the investigation to the authorities.
Iba-ibang version, we don't know what to believe. Oo. So, tapos sila rin naman mag-i-investigate yan, hindi tayo.
Meanwhile, Senator Panfilo Lacson says there is no reason to conduct an investigation. According to the senator, he will study first any resolution that will be filed on the incident to find compelling reasons to conduct a probe in aid of legislation.
Kung merong affidavit yung witness, edi pwede siguro. Mahirap kasi yung kada police operation at may namamatay, tatawag tayo ng hearing. Imagine na lang kung anong itsura ng Senado.
Senator Lacson's committee will be the one in charge should a resolution is formally filed in the Senate regarding the incident. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
The newly appointed officer in charge of Ozamiz City hopes that there would never be a repeat of what happened to the Parojinogs and that the city would become peaceful anew. Joyce Balancho tells us why.
The newly appointed officer in charge of Ozamiz City, Councilor Irene Luansing, is hoping that the situation in Ozamiz City would return to normal and what happened to the Parojinog family and others will never happen again to others.
What happened, really shocking talaga. Shocking talaga sa akin. So, it has continue being peaceful, those allegations that there are drugs. It might be true or it might not be. But then the president said so. So, I hope everything will turn out.
Luansing admits that they have yet to discuss the incident with the Philippine National Police or the PNP. She says the department heads will also hold a meeting with her to address the needs of the residents of the city. The officer in charge says Barangay Police Auxiliary Team is also ready to assist the relatives left by those killed in the bloody raid. Meanwhile, the Northern Mindanao Police has released the identities of the 15 victims in the bloody raid in the house of the Parojinogs last Sunday. The Misamis Occidental Police says they will continue to determine the background of those killed. Meanwhile, at 11 in the evening last night, the Ozamiz PNP released the detained son of Councilor Ricardo Parojinog, who remains at large. Christopher Parojinog was brought first to the hospital for a medical checkup before he was released by authorities. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Department of Justice has issued subpoena to suspected big-time drug lord Peter Lim, alias Jaguar, to a hearing on August 14. The businessman is facing illegal drug trading charges after the PNP CIDG Major Crimes Investigation Unit filed a formal complaint against him. Lim was previously tagged by President Rodrigo Duterte as one of the big-time drug lords in relation to the government's anti-drug campaign. Self-confessed drug lord Kerwin Espinosa, high-profile inmate Peter Ko, and 5 others were also named in the complaint. The DOJ has earlier issued immigration lookout bulletin order against respondents, directing immigration officers to monitor their trips abroad.
Next on Y News. The Philippines tops Asian countries with the highest number of new cases of HIV infections.
The Department of Education intensifies its anti-smoking campaign in all school campuses across the country.
And calling professional, amateur, and young video producers as the Cinebata 2017 officially opens.
Y News will be right back. The Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process considers a scam the alleged recruitment of the Moro National Liberation Front at their camp in Lanao del Sur. Victor Cosare tells us why.
The Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF, clarifies that its group is not recruiting new members in Basilan and Sulu to join forces with the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP. In a statement, MNLF Central Committee Chair Yusuf Jikiri says the recruitment was completed way back in 2003 under their MNLF integration program. This has been agreed upon by the Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process, or OPAP. According to Zamboanga City Mayor Ben Climaco, the OPAP has already released a warning that the alleged recruitment is a scam. Furthermore, Climaco also denies the alleged creation of a framework of the government for the integration of the MNLF to the AFP.
Those that will violate this and will still follow the integration program of the MNLF will be dealt with accordingly by the police and the military.
Last July 25, 33 individuals were arrested in Ipil, Zamboanga, Sibugay, while 27 others were nabbed in Zamboanga City. The suspects claimed they were recruits of the MNLF and were headed to the Moros Camp Habal Nur in Lanao del Sur for a training before becoming part of the regular force of the AFP. But the MNLF denies that the arrested individuals are their members. In line with this, authorities advise the public to never join a group or believe an individual who will offer money in exchange for doing something for them.
We still maintain the strict implementation of no ID, no entry in Zamboanga City premises. We also have the profiling of suspicious persons in order to protect the city.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The National Privacy Commission, or NPC, conducts an assembly to urge telecommunication companies to comply with data privacy and protection protocols. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Different telecommunication network companies and internet providers in the country this morning gathered in an assembly headed by the National Privacy Commission. The DPO3, or the Data Protection Officers Assembly for Telecommunications Sector, aims to urge telcos to commit to strengthening their data privacy and protection systems in accordance with the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Department of Information and Communications Technology Secretary Rodolfo Salalima says this is to avoid leakage of information that can be used for cybercrime and cyber identity theft.
Kung malaman na isang kriminal ang mga identity mo, which are very personal to you and for that matter very sensitive, baka yung datang yon gamitin ng kriminal to commit fraud against you or even to steal your identity when they make transactions.
Aside from telcos, the NPC also met with banks and other financial institutions last April and May to urge them to beef up and develop their security protocol when it comes to handling sensitive information. National Privacy Commission Chair Raymond Liboro says cooperation of telcos is necessary to ensure that privacy rights of individuals are protected.
Mahalaga na sila po ay committed na panatiliin ang proteksyon ng datos ng mga mamamayan at maging committed na itaguyod or uphold the privacy of Filipino citizens.
Liboro adds that they will also meet with representatives from the BPOs or the business process outsourcing sector to discuss with them the importance of data privacy and protection. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Former President Benigno Aquino III expresses dismay over manifestations to abolish the Commission on Human Rights. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
The Commission on Human Rights should stay until the country achieves a perfect society. This is what former President Benigno Aquino III maintains as a response to President Rodrigo Duterte's statement that the Commission should already be dissolved following the criticisms it hurled in the past against the administration. Pinoy says it is imperative that the commission that protects the rights of the people stays.
Hindi pa natin masasabi na nasagad na si HR yung kanyang dapat na trabaho. At habang buhay ang tao, yung pangangailangan ng pangalagaan yung karapatan ng pantao, pwede ba nating buhugin ng isang ahensya na isang nangangalaga nito?
The former president is also not in favor of the abolition of the Presidential Commission on Good Government, or PCGG, that the administration says it sets to do soon. He says it is not yet certain if the agency has already completed its mandate to recover the alleged ill-gotten wealth of the Marcoses.
Sa PCGG, natapos na ba yung trabaho nila? At alam mo, sa panahon ko, meron pa rin mga nare-recover, meron pa rin mga hinahabol na hindi pa talaga, hindi pa tayo natapos dahil sa totoo lang, hindi tayo sigurado kung may isang tao na buhay na alam lahat itong nare-recover na ito.
Meanwhile, Aquino is dubious if the present administration's war on drugs is a success. He says before he left office, the number of drug users in the country that was reported to him by the Dangerous Drugs Board was 1.8 million. However, the number of drug users today remains the same as reported by the former DDB chairman that President Duterte dismissed from post.
Yung huling binigay, 1.8. Yung huling nilabas, 1.8. Parang wala yata nangyari.
Victor Posare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Philippines has the highest number of new cases of human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, in Asia, based on the report of the United Nations. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
The latest UNAIDS report on the global HIV epidemic says 95% of 270,000 new HIV cases comes from Asia. Topping the list of nations with the highest number of HIV cases is the Philippines, followed by China, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. Individuals who tested positive of HIV in the Philippines have increased 140% from 2010 to 2016. 83% of the new cases in the country involve males having sex with males, or MSM, and transgender women who have sex with males, or TGW.
From 2010 to 2016, unfortunately, Philippines is among the highest, the fastest growing epidemic in Asia and the Pacific, together with Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Papua New Guinea, Bangladesh, among others.
Based on the report of the Epidemiology Bureau of the Department of Health, or DOH, there were already 1,098 new HIV cases in the country from January to May of this year. This year, the DOH records 29 new HIV cases daily from individuals ages 15 years old and above. Aside from programs aiming to help people with HIV, there is also a support group called Pinoy Plus Individuals Pilipinas Incorporated, whose members are also HIV positive, that cares for people with HIV. One of the members is Owie, who has been HIV positive for 13 years now. He says he wants to help the public understand that people with HIV or AIDS can also live normal lives.
We would like all persons with risk behavior to be able to go for testing, and we're expanding the test and treat hubs across the country.
Those with inquiries regarding the DOH programs may call the DOH hotline 711-1001 or 711-1002.
Huwag silang matakot kasi andyan ang governments, andyan yung funding agency na handang tumulong, lalo na yung antiretroviral drugs ay for free.
Having HIV is a very serious matter in the Philippines because of the stigma it brings. This is why the DOH advises the public not to discriminate against people with the virus and instead encourage them to seek treatment. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Meanwhile, the health department targets to administer 100% immunization to public school children in Bacolod City this month. Deb Riveral tells us why.
The Department of Health said the increase in number of children who availed last year's immunization program helped a lot to prevent measles and rubella infection in schools in Western Visayas. In a span of 1 year, not a single case of measles or rubella infection was recorded by the DOH in the region. However, health officials want to make sure that school children remain protected.
Ang ining mga vaccine gusto naton ini sila mahatag sa school-based children kay tungod gusto naton mapalapad ang aton nga immunization coverage.
This month, DOH targets to administer 2 sets of vaccines, the measles rubella virus vaccine and tetanus and diphtheria vaccine, to all grades 1 to 7 students in Bacolod City. Health officials are encouraging parents to have their children shot for their protection.
So hindi sila mag-worry kay ini nga mga bakuna naton nakaagigid sa mga quality nga mga procedures para mahatag naton sa publiko nga safe ini siya.
DOH explains measles and rubella are viral infections that can only be prevented through vaccination. Contracting the disease may cause serious discomfort or death to children if neglected. Debra Veral, UNTV News and Rescue, Visayas.
In other news, the Department of Education, or DepEd, intensifies its anti-smoking campaign in all school campuses across the country. Maki Libradilla will tell us why.
The Department of Education, or DepEd, wants to ensure that all schools across the country are 100% smoke-free. This is the primary goal of the launching of the Eskwela Ban sa Sigarilyo project. The said project is expected to intensify the DepEd Order number 48 issued last 2016. Under Department Order number 48, students, teachers, and non-teaching personnel and staff should be able to understand the negative effects to health of smoking.
The Eskwela Ban sa Paninigarilyo pertains to bans on smoking in schools to protect the health of our learners from harmful effects of tobacco smoke.
Aside from smoking, also prohibited at school campuses are advertising materials of tobacco companies like posters, t-shirts, and similar materials. Schools are also not allowed to coordinate with the tobacco industry, as such a move might affect the implementation of the said campaign.
This would mean na bawal po tumanggap ng mga donasyon or assistance ang ating mga eskwelahan galing po sa mga tobacco companies.
Aside from these, selling of cigarettes 100 meters from the vicinity of the school is also prohibited. The Child Protection Committee will have the responsibility to report any violation of the order to local government units, which will also be led by the principal of the school. This is to ensure that the LGU would immediately address the violation. The DepEd warns vendors who would violate the said rule of business permit revocation or closure. With the said project, the Education Department also aims to strengthen the campaign of the administration to achieve a smoke-free environment in the country. Maki Libradilla, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasig City.
And more than 200 smokers have called the Department of Health's quit line since its launch. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
Every day, the Department of Health's quit line receives an average of 20 to 30 calls from individuals who wish to quit smoking.
Total callers as of its launching June 19 to the July 31 is 284 callers. For the M cessation, we have 1,797 texters.
Smokers are given counseling by health experts on duty. In cessation clinics, they are given advice on alternative ways to fight the urge of smoking. They are given replacement therapy to help them withdraw from addiction to nicotine. For now, DOH is doing an assessment on the quit line's success rate in reducing the number of smokers in the country. The Smokers Quit Line is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Meanwhile, DOH has no exact figure yet of the total number of offenders of the nationwide smoking ban since it took effect on July 23.
I don't have the data, but that is the system that we have adopted as soon as we have reports of certain LGUs not implementing the EO, then we call the attention of the ILG.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Professional, amateur, and young video producers have the chance to represent the country to the Southeast Asian community. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
Child-friendly Philippines. This is the vision of Anak TV and the Council for the Welfare of Children in the country. In line with this is the launching of Cinebata 2017, Year 2 of the search for the best video produced for, by, and with children. This year's Cinebata theme is Pride in Self, Family, and Traditions.
Dito, ipapakilala natin sino sila. Sila ay Pilipino. Meron tayong magandang kaugalian. There is something that they can be proud of, telling them about themselves, about family, about our culture, our tradition.
President Go believes that the media have a great role in giving a voice to the youth.
Media will create a space, will create an opportunity for the children of Southeast Asia to showcase their talent, their creativity, so that they can be the peacemaker of the next generation.
Cinebata 2017's winners will represent the country in the very first Southeast Asia Pre-Jeunesse or CPJ, the video festival for ASEAN children which the Philippines will host. The search is open to professional or terrestrial and cable stations, amateur and young video producers. Entry forms and other details can be found on the Anak TV website, www.anaktv.com. Video entries may be sent to cinebata2017@gmail.com until September 15. Meanwhile, KNC show hosts were chosen to sing the theme song of First CPJ. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Kuya Daniel Razon sa advocacy film Isang Araw Ikatlong Yugto just recently received an advocacy award in the first PNP Anti-Illegal Drugs Film Festival. Attendees in the latest special screening in Quezon City can attest that the movie indeed deserves the said recognition. Roby De Guzman tells us why.
Selflessness, patience, love, and forgiveness. These are just some of the values that the movie Isang Araw Ikatlong Yugto wants to deliver to its audience from all walks of life. True enough, each time the film is screened, not a single member of the audience leaves without something inspiring to share.
Dapat magpatawad ka na kahit na may kasalanan sa iyo, kailangan mo magpatawad, tsaka kailangan, hindi mo kailangan magalit kung galit sa iyo yung
Unang-una, yung tungkol doon sa pagpapakumbaba, huwag gaganti sa masama.
Tulad ng pagkikisama, gumawa ng mabuti po.
The film is a total package, as some of the audience describes it. It has drama, comedy, action, and even romance rolled into one movie. Some viewers agree the movie is truly one of a kind.
Sa dinami-dami ng movie na napanood ko, parang ito yung pinakamaganda. Kasi bawat may matututunan kay. Hindi gaya ng ibang movie na sikat nga, magaganda yung mga artista na bigatin, pero halos wala ka naman matutunang mabuti.
The movie special Metrowide tour is ongoing on special dates, while a number of special screenings abroad are also set in the coming months. Roby De Guzman, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
SM Manila's Activity Center has been filled with aspiring talents hoping to be wish-covered. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
The spotlight is now on for Discovery hopefuls here in the capital city of the Philippines, Manila.
Almost 300 soloists rushed to the venue to showcase their talent.
Many aspiring singers here in Manila are hoping that Discovery will be the key to the fulfillment of their dreams. In fact, as you can see, the line of auditionees almost reaches the mall's exit.
Among the auditionees who caught everyone's attention is 26-year-old call center agent Zerman Camero.
Gusto ko talaga total performance yung maibigay ko, kaya yung song piece na pinili ko, nababagay talaga sa outfit na suit ko ngayon.
Zerman wants to send a message for singing the Filipino version of Let It Go.
Para po mapakita sa madla na maganda pakinggan ang awitin ng mga Disney kahit na isalin to sa pambansang wika natin.
Communication student Gracelyn Monteras also joined the audition. Gracelyn has showcased her talent in many venues, but as an avid fan of Wish, she also wants to sing on the state-of-the-art Wish bus.
Sabi ko, parang kakaiba po kasi sa bus. Tapos ayun, sabi ko, sana po one time try ko din kumanta sa ganun.
The next and last on-ground audition will be held in Bacolod City on August 3. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Those are the reasons behind the news. August 1, 2017. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am William Theo.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Why News.